Hey everyone, welcome back. Just in time for the holidays, I'm going to teach you how to make a scrumptious holiday seitan roast and a side and a gravy that is all going to be ready at pretty much the same time. It is so delicious, so rich in flavor, even meat eaters will be impressed. The first step is to preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 190 Celsius. So I have some vegetable broth here. This is gonna be the base of our liquid. But what I love about today's recipe is that from this same liquid we're going to form with all of these goodies is going to come the liquid for the seitan itself, the liquid for braising it in the oven, and the liquid for our gravy. So you'll get it all in one step. So our vegetable broth is here. I'm gonna add some red wine, some tomato paste, some Dijon mustard, some maple syrup or any other liquid sweetener that you like, some balsamic vinegar, really important because it's gonna caramelize with the rest of our ingredients and create a beautiful, chewy exterior that is so good. We're also adding some soy sauce and some liquid smoke. Liquid smoke you can find near the barbecue sauces, and it adds such a smoky, wonderful flavor. Lots of layers of flavor in this. We're adding also some acidity, so the juice of 1 lemon. Now we simply whisk it together. You really have to get in there because you've got that tomato paste and Dijon that need to be diluted a bit. You're gonna see bits and pieces of the Dijon. Don't worry, we're not gonna be able to see it at the final stage. Set your pitcher aside and we're gonna mix the dry ingredients together. Now this is the most important ingredient. This is gluten, vital wheat gluten, and you can find this next to the flour in your supermarket or in health food stores, and this is the base of what seitan is. It's a vegan meat made out of wheat. So let's add that in to a large bowl. So let's add some nutritional yeast, some garlic powder, some onion powder, smoked paprika, some chili powder, some fresh thyme. I love fresh thyme. If you're using dried thyme, just reduce the quantity a little bit. Add that in. And of course, salt and pepper, as always. Now let's whisk everything together. Now the magic happens. We've got all our wet ingredients here, but this isn't going entirely into this mixture. We're going to measure out 1.5 cups that will go in, and also 1.5 cups that I'm going to add to a pan and set aside because that's gonna be the beginning of our gravy. Let's combine this mixture. You can start with your spatula, but soon you'll see that it's gonna be no good and you really have to get in there with your hands. You wanna make sure that as you do this, you're kind of making everything into one solid piece. And you just wanna kind of press into it and knead it until all of that dry gluten and those dry spices are really incorporated. Now always let the seitan tell you what it needs. And what this one needs is a little bit more liquid. We always add any extra liquid only if needed because we want this to have that firm texture. See how you now see that brown color? Now I want you to do the seitan test, and I want you to kind of just open it up with your fingers. If you see that it's a very nice and stretchy texture that isn't breaking apart easily, that's pretty much the ratio of liquid to solids that you want. So we're just going to go ahead and start pounding it together. If you want to use a mallet, you can use that too. It will really add to the final texture. Form it into a log shape. Let's add it to an oven-proof casserole dish. You want to pour until it's half to 3/4 of the way up, And the great news is, if you have any left over, this is just going to go into your sauce. And we're going to find the prettiest side. There's always a side that's prettier. In this case, it's this one. We're gonna put that down. So we're gonna put the pretty side down. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, and the first baking time is 30 minutes. Then we take it out and we flip and add that glaze again. So we're going to thinly slice the fennel, the apples. I'm using Pink Lady apples, use your favorites. And then we're gonna add a drizzle of olive oil. We're gonna add some balsamic vinegar, some maple syrup, salt, pepper, and pop them in the oven. My 30 minutes are up. So we've got a tough skin forming that is gonna be so delicious, but now we have to flip it. So very, very carefully so that it doesn't break apart on you, especially in that first turn where it's still a little bit fragile. And now we're gonna baste it with the sauce. Let's put this back in the oven for 45 more minutes. Now in those 45 more minutes, you're gonna take it out every 15 minutes and flip it and baste it with the sauce. It's also a good idea that when you do that, you just remember to move those vegetables in the pan around a little bit to make sure that everything is getting evenly roasted. Look at that, it looks amazing. It smells even better. So the sauce around it has reduced a little bit, and that's gonna go in our pan with the rest of our liquid ingredients that we reserved there. Our veggies will be pretty much cooked at this time. All of those flavors have come together. Some of those juices have been released, but I always like a little bit of char on my vegetables. So I'm gonna raise the heat of the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 205 Celsius. And I'm gonna raise the rack closer to the top and turn on that broiler at that temperature. And that's just gonna kind of caramelize this just a tiny bit. I've set my roast on the cutting board here, and I'm just gonna add all of that sauce that was left over there, because why waste that? It's so full of flavor. We're gonna whisk those two together, and we're just gonna heat on high. And you're gonna see that all of those little bits we had from the Dijon mustard have disappeared, and all of it is nicely mixed together. So we're gonna let this cook on high for about 5 minutes for it to reduce a little bit. But I love to add some mushrooms, so just some sliced mushrooms if you want to use them, just add them right into the sauce. Your vegetables are caramelized and ready, and now we're just gonna finish up the sauce and plate everything up. So I've got some cornstarch here. We're gonna form a cornstarch slurry. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to help dilute this. Mix it on up. And while we whisk, we're gonna add it a bit at a time. This is gonna help thicken up our gravy. This is the lovely texture that we're looking for, a rich sauce with those mushrooms inside. Always give it a taste, make sure that the seasoning is to your liking. Wow, ooh, you can really feel that red wine in there. The taste of the mushrooms, it's so good. It's smoky, delicious. I don't need to add anything else. You can round out your meal with any other holiday sides that you love. I'm serving mine with some garlic vegan cheddar mashed potatoes, lots of that gravy on top, some roasted asparagus. We have our vegetables, our main character here, that gorgeous sauce. And there you have it, a full, delicious holiday meal that will be all worth the work. Let's give it a taste. Too good.